Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, we go to let pop culture lair.
Happy Thursday and welcome to an earlier than usual edition of our live stream. This one from this point out will be titled, as you know, we've shortened the schedule. Tuesdays, Open Topic Tuesdays, Thursday Night Live, which will be this one you're watching right now, Saturday Overnight Live, and then the Sunday Night Weekend Wrap Up. So welcome to the very first one that'll be named this one. This will be the permanent name of this show. It will take place usually around the same time that the old Midnight Express stuff would take place. But tonight I was available earlier. So for those of you East Coasters and people that are around the world and, you know, watching us at a weird hour, I thought I'd do you guys a favor tonight. Let me know if you are getting me clearly and if I sound good and I'm not choppy. Otherwise, I'll have to switch. By the way, guys, please don't spam the chat. It's not just annoying to me, but it's annoying to the people who are waiting for the show to start. You know, you're trying to interact with people and you have all these, you know, you got one person putting in all this stuff in. Put a point in, and then when I get a chance to respond to it, then put another one in after that. But don't put, I shouldn't come into my chat to 36 different, you know, you can email me that. I mean, damn. So hello, everybody. We will be a solo pilot. Brad's still a little bit soft under the weather, so it's going to just be me tonight. Okay. It'll just be me tonight. So we got some stuff to cover. We have the Masters of the Universe trailer that dropped today. We also have a trailer for Star Trek, but Star Wars, Darth Maul, Shadow Lord. So we're going to take a look at that. Let me adjust some things real quick before we get going. All right, cool. Hopefully that sounds better. All right, let's see. Rational Skeptic, William Masala, Return to Silent Hill in theaters day. It was okay film. I didn't even know it was out, to be honest with you. I heard something somewhere, but I didn't really apply it to anything. But I didn't know there was another Silent Hill movie out. I thought it might have been a game, but I really hadn't paid attention to it. I'm glad you sort of enjoyed it. Hello, Duckman. Yeah, Omega Swiper. Like, dude, I 30-something entries. Come on, man. Donovan, it sucks that Ledger passed away. Yeah, we're going to talk about that as well. Passed away, but the truth is his Joker and the Dark Knight trilogy held DC back over a decade. If the Dark Knight trilogy wasn't a success, we would have gotten Snyder's edgy DCU. When it comes to the Dark Knight trilogy, I think you guys know if you've been watching this show for any length of time. I think it's overrated personally. I'm not the biggest fan of it. There's more about the Dark Knight trilogy I don't like than there is that I do like. The only thing about the Dark Knight trilogy, the Nolan trilogy, is for me that I find rewatchable on a regular basis is anything that Heath Ledger is in as the Joker. Other than that, I didn't think. I mean, somebody posted today saying that it was a tragedy that the Dark Knight didn't get nominated for 2008 Oscar award, and I'm like, that's one of the things the Academy got right. I don't agree with who won that year. I mean, I think it's Slumdog Millionaire, which movie I actually saw and still to this day can't believe that it won best movie. But no, the Dark Knight, Dark Knight should not have been nominated for Best Academy Award. It got nominated, and I think it got nominated for 2 or 3 awards. It got nominated, but it won for the only award that it deserved that night, and that was Heath Ledger's Joker. The only 47 minutes of that movie that I watch anymore. And I don't watch Batman Begins, and it's been years since I saw took a look at The Dark Knight Rises, which I think is a very disappointing movie, one of the most disappointing comic book movies I've ever seen. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it is unfortunate, but people, it's an unfortunate. That's why they call them untimely death, because he was only 28 years old when he passed away. All right, and tonight's show is brought to you by, let me see, I should have had this up already, but I lost my internet. It's not up here anymore. Damn it. Where's my overlay? Yeah, Mercy. Amazon, MGM. I sent a couple people a couple of days ago to go see this at Red Rock. I have not seen it. I'll probably take a look at it when it comes on streaming, not because I don't think it's a good movie, because I just don't have a lot of time these days. In theaters tomorrow, which is basically the day. I know some people who saw it today. So Chris Pratt and Rebecca Ferguson. It's a movie about you have an AI judge who's giving Chris Pratt's character 90 minutes to solve or prove that he is not guilty of his wife's murder. So that is in theaters now, and also by the good folks at Trauma Now. Head to trauma-now.com. First month is free. If you are supportive of anything independent as far as filmmaking goes, not only is there Trauma stuff up there, Lloyd gives young filmmakers and independent filmmakers a shot and a platform to put their stuff on Trauma Now. So first month is free. After that, it's $4.99. Okie dokie, let's get back to the chat, and then we're going to hit our topics. Bam, 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 and that's it. Well, and I've heard the NWA has had some decent show lately. Do you know that I have not watched the NWA in quite a while? I used to be a regular watcher of NWA Power, but there's just so much wrestling on right now. I just haven't had time for NWA. I've been watching CMLL wherever I can find that. Obviously, I watch New Japan. I watch as much WWE as I can stomach. I mean, I record Raw or I DVR Raw, but I'm not DVR. I'm sorry. That was before the Netflix, but I have Netflix and I speed through Raw. And I probably, out of a 3-hour show, I'd probably stop for about 15 minutes of the show. And same thing with SmackDown. And then I watch AEW, both Collision and Dynamite. And I'm going to be actually attending AEW Dynamite on February 5th. So we'll get a lot of pictures from that. But no, I have not had a chance to watch. I watched TNA tonight. So yeah, I'm actually I've run out of room for other shows, and NWA was a casualty. I enjoyed it for what it was. It was basically, if you've ever watched any TV show that has to do with college or high school type pranks, like frat. It was frat stuff. That's what this reminded me of. If you guys haven't watched, I won't completely spoil it for you because it just came out. Within the Starfleet Academy, or within the training grounds, there's Starfleet Academy, and then there's the War College. When the burn happened, there was no Starfleet Academy. There was just a War College. But they're now training under the same auspices, and they're basically, the end result will be people who graduate from from both of those will be Starfleet officers. It's kind of like the difference between like if you went to Annapolis and you have Marine officers that train at Annapolis Naval Academy, they go on to the Marines, and and the other ones go on to the Navy. I don't think the War College is going to be its own separate entity, though. I just think that they are integrating that because that was the only thing in existence prior to Starfleet Academy being created. Starfleet Academy is less of a military organization than an exploration. When during the burn, there was no exploring being done. It was only defense. So that's why you only had the War College. But they're pranking each other. They're trying to one-up each other. And it's the same thing that you would see with frats. I hear, some people like it, some people don't. A lot of people don't like it, just can't relate to the demo that they're aiming to, and that's fine. Like I continue to say, if you don't like Starfleet Academy and you don't want to watch it, just don't watch it. Once you've made your opinion known, hey, this is not for me, you don't need to go on a crusade to tell everybody and their mother why you don't like it, why you think it's woke, all this nonsense. And like I said, when I hear the words woke, or I hear the term DEI being used, I just stop listening to you. Those are two things. If you come in and you use a DEI in a negative negative connotation, or you use terms like woke, I get more quality out of a conversation talking to a canine than I'm talking to anybody who's doing that. So I hear those words and I go the other way. I'm going to do the best for both of us and ignore you and just move on to somebody who can actually form a thought instead of just throwing those. A lot of people are using, every time I go into a room or a chat or anything like that to discuss Star Trek, the people who don't like it are using DEI. And you're telling me you've never watched Star Trek before, because Star Trek has always been inclusive. When you're against DEI, you're diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if you're against that, I mean, I don't know if there's any conversation we can have, or I'm just not going to just try to get out of it. So, but I've seen a lot of those words used when it comes to Star Trek, and it just tells me that Star Trek may need to shed some of its fans. To be honest with you, some of these guys, it would just be best for all of us if they moved on to something else. But I am having some fun with Starfleet Academy. Is it everything I want in a Star Trek show? No, I want Star Trek. I want 7 of 9's Enterprise G. That's what I really want, but I'm not going to penalize this show because it was already in pre-production when no one knew in Picard Season 3 what it was going to do and how it was going to gravitate, especially after the first 2 seasons of Picard. There was no reason to think that season would resonate as much as it did. It did, and now people want that show, but one step at a time. Let's watch the Star Trek that's on the air now, and if you don't like it, there's thousands of hours of Star Trek that I can think of that you can go watch. So I had some fun with it. Nah, he says he's under the weather or something like that. I'm of a different physiology when it comes to just working through some stuff. I got to be really, 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 really out. But everybody's got different tolerances. So, I don't know how sick Brad is, but he's under the weather. So he'll be back on Saturday because, there you go. By the way, I usually never find out from him until like the last maybe half hour or so before the show. How you doing, Music Man? What's going on? So is the prom still on, or is he ruining it all? Who are we? So enough, William. I have a feeling we won't get much other roster additions outside the 10 additions and Avengers Doomsday. I think you're going to get a crap ton more. Remember, we were talking about nobody knew if Famke Jensen was going to be in this, and then announced that she's most likely in it. So I truly believe that everybody who is physically able to be in this movie from the Sony or Fox universe is going to be in this movie. I think that's the way they're setting up, or in the next 2 movies. Either if they're not in Doomsday, they are going to be in Secret Wars. Australia misses Heath Ledger. You can even visit his grave here in Australia. Yeah, Ozzy's on 28 years old. 20. I think he was just about to turn 29. By the way, so I'm still waiting for a trailer for Brand New Day. Anything from Brand New Day. We know it's done. We know it's ready. So I'm just curious. Johnny Dome, Brave and the Bolt Rider is a Flash writer. She also wrote Birds of Prey and Bumblebee. Two of those things I enjoyed. I hate Birds of Prey. I thought it was an awful movie. I thought it was a waste of good talent. There's some really talented people that starred in that movie, and that movie was just a waste for me. And I think it hurt Harley Quinn's, Margot Robbie's brand of Harley Quinn. Whenever you put a character in a bad movie like that, you water down that brand. In my opinion, I did not enjoy Birds of Prey. I thought it was an overstuffed, disorganized movie. But at the same time, I did like Bumblebee, and I thought I enjoyed The Flash. And The Flash had issues, and it was still enjoyable since she did the screenplay for that. So, Clone Avenger. I sent a super chat, but man, that crackerhead comment. Oh, okay. Your super chat should still be up here. I sent the super chat, but man, that crackhead comment. Another message didn't take it out of the chat. You try it again because I don't see it. Usually, if I have to, like I said, I got rid of all of that. But it should still show up on my notifications. I don't see it. But go ahead and Clone Avenger, give me your question, and I'll answer it anyway. How you doing? Second, what's going on? William goes on a crusade. Here's the thing about that. Here's the thing about the difference between me and a Batman animated series, which, like I said, once again, if you're not new to the show, you know I have a philosophical difference with 90s animation and how those entities transformed the perception of characters that were never meant to be that way. In my opinion, it's just my opinion. To me, a lot of people who grew up in that era use that as the basis of what they think Batman should be, and now those people enter the fandom, and they're usually the ones that have an issue with harder edge Batman or interpretations, and so we got a clash there. But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. I'll tell you why, and the only time usually I address it here is when it's brought up to me. But I'm not going to go into a Batman the Animated Series chat room and ruin your fun and go up and down the chat saying, you know what, I think Batman the Animated Series is garbage. Wow, I can't. You're an idiot. I can't believe why. That's what's happening when in some of these Trek threads and a lot of Star Wars threads. If somebody comes to this door and says, you know what, my first Batman was Kevin Conroy, and my first Joker with Mark Hamill. Well. But that's jokingly, I'll throw a couple of jabs, but at the same time, I'm going to welcome them in. They're Batman fans. Eventually, I will be able to show you some of the stuff that influences me. I know it influences you, and we'll have a conversation. That's not what's happening with Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. It's a lot more insulting, a lot more rigid, and a lot of the people are creating a different type of class of a Star Trek fan. And this is what's happened before when it wasn't fun to be a Trek fan. So no, there's a huge difference in between how I feel about not just Batman animated series, like X-Men animated series. I think it's a misinterpretation. And it's one thing for it doesn't have to be what I like, but when you openly have to cut things away and soften things because you're putting it in front of a kid's audience, to me, that's transforming the product. But you know what? Somebody out there enjoyed it. So hey, the Fantastic Four flopping at the box office. I don't listen to what fans call flopping. We're not authorities. We're just clowns on the computer. You don't determine what flops. You don't know what the expectations for Disney. You don't know when they're looking for the result overall, because you have to realize that Fantastic Four is in a larger scale story that a lot of people will refer to as the story gets running. How much did they spend on it? There's a whole bunch of business reasons. Fans don't determine what flops. And I think what we really need to do as fans is know our role. unless you're an investor, unless you know the set goals of Kevin Feige and where they wanted that movie to be, then a fan calling a movie a flop, unless you can mathematically prove that movie lost money and was not a worthy investment. You can't prove any of that when it comes to Fantastic Four. It made enough money to do okay, and it didn't lose any money. All right, box office making less than Superman. Doomsday underperformed. No. See, what you're talking about, Donovan, is fans. See, we fans have the luxury of just saying crazy shit because we don't have any stake in the game. Fantastic Four making less than Superman is meaningless. It's irrelevant. Marvel wasn't the dumpster fire that DC was under Hamada, Sarnoff, and Emmerich. Right? Everybody is looking at DC these days to see if that plane can land or if it's going to crash. So a lot of curiosity is around there. Plus, you have the world's oldest superhero. But as far as any perception of a Fantastic Four, a lot of it, if you let's say you think Fantastic Four was some kind of flop, it wasn't. I don't even know where that comes from. But say you were just for argument's sake, they're saying it was going to be disappointing. You also have to look at the ramp up to Fantastic Four. Once we ended with the A-listers with Endgame, we didn't do anything as far as Marvel. All we got were fillers, in my opinion. We went from Captain America, Iron Man, to like Ironheart and all kinds of other stuff, and Hawkeye and things like that just weren't the biggest draws. So you went, 3, 4, 5 years of the C-level stuff, and people just, Marvel, once you start them on that diet of A-listers, they don't want their diet changed. Same thing with Captain America, Brave New World. The biggest problem Captain America, Brave New World had is that wasn't Steve Rogers, it's Captain America. All right, the MCU fans, they want their steak. You can't come in with spam or baloney. So a lot of that had to do with that. So you're making comparisons that are not relevant. The MCU fan has a different expectation for what they want, and you're going to see that with Avengers and Spider-Man and all these the A-listers coming back. The DC fan, that was not even non-existent. A lot of the DC fans went away and they didn't come back. So you're basically toying with the general audience who knows who Superman is. And 600 million, that's fine. That's fine, but I think the comparisons are not valid. They really kind of undercut whatever you're trying to say here. Let's see, this is Star Wars. Yeah. I think the Star Wars universe and the Star Trek universe would be better if some people just took a break. Because some people's only goal is to ruin it. Like I said, you brought up the jokingly brought up me and Batman. I am not ever going to try to ruin something for somebody that they like. I said over and over again, Lower Decks is not for me. I think it's silly. I think it's stupid. But there's a ton of Star Trek fans that enjoy it. So I'm going to let them enjoy it. I gave it a try. Didn't like it. I went back to watching Trek that I did like. It's that easy. William was reported that Doomsday won't get an IMAX release until January since Dune. No, it's 8 weeks. So what he's talking about is Dune. The Warner Brothers distribution had already had the distribution for IMAX locked up, exclusive IMAX locked up for Dune Part 3. And it's 8 week exclusive window. So after 8 weeks, if Avengers Doomsday is still playing and still has legs, Avengers Doomsday can take up those remaining screens. But you have Dolby, you have Sony, you have a whole bunch of different formats that Avengers is going to be playing on. They're going to make their money. It's just that Warner Brothers had a contract set up. So it's going to be eight weeks. So I guess it's a year away. Yeah. So you're right. January will be fine. Until I see otherwise, I don't think either of these movies are going to move. And I really hope that the powers that be realize what a unique marketing opportunity they have. Both of these movies are going to make them money. Avengers does not need IMAX screens across the billion. And there's been people have been waiting for the A-listers for years. They're back. That those movies are going to sell out. I just think the theaters could really take advantage of the traffic. Hey, come spend the day with us. Just don't come, just you'll see one movie here and one movie there, or not see both movies. Make it economical for them to come in and spend the day at your theater, buying popcorn, buying soda, watching both movies, buying whatever you got to sell them in that lobby. And that lobby should be like Mardi Gras when it comes to these movies. I mean, there should be cosplayers there. There should be, there's just so much money on the table if they do this right. But yeah, as far as L for Marvel, no, there's enough outlets and there's enough platforms for Avengers Doomsday. They're going to sell out every screening. Dune. Last time Dune, we did Dune because we promoted Dune. Dune sold out all of its IMAX screenings. Dune made $700 million, and a lot of it was IMAX. But Doomsday is gonna. There's a lot of people. Not everybody needs to see a movie in IMAX either. So there's going to be the other half of the Cineplex, and then you have those other IMAX-like formats that people can go to if IMAX isn't available. So I really think that both movies are going to do just fine, and I really think they should stay on the same day. I'm doing all right. Just the doldrums of winter, trying to make it through. All right, William, what are your thoughts on people blowing this out of proportion about Christina Hodson being the writer on Batman Brave and the Bold movie? I think I just said before, the two things that were, out of the three things that were listed, two of them I liked. I liked Bumblebee, and I enjoyed The Flash. And I don't think that Andy Muschietti and James Gunn would work with idiots. I mean, they generally don't. You may not like the stuff that they do all the time, depending on who it is, but I'm pretty sure the process to get her, she had to present a cohesive script for her to even get hired for this job. And the guys who did the hiring know way more than me. And like I said, two of the three things she's done, people throw out there, I've enjoyed. I thought Bumblebee was one of the better Transformer movies. I largely walked away from the Transformers franchise, and I came back for Bumblebee. And The Flash, given the circumstances that The Flash was created under, I thought she did a great job with that. Would I have liked a better movie out of The Flash? Yeah, but that wasn't her fault. I don't have a problem with Christina Hodson. I don't have a biggest issue as a lot of people do with her, One of those movies, or I'll agree with you with one of those music, man. Son Avenger William, have you ever read James Robinson's Starman run? Yes, I did. I got quite a few issues in it, and it really did grab me. I bought the companion. Yeah, that was when Starman, if I can recall, it was as close to a Vertigo book as a book like that could be. And in fact, I think, I love the covers for that. When I sold that, I put that next to my Vertigo stuff. I believe we're talking about the same one. And oh wow, it's been a while. If we're talking about the same one, that actually was a Vertigo book because it had that same format. But yeah, I did read it. I did enjoy it. Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't. They're not high schoolers; they're more college, so there's not really be a problem there. Yeah, they gave her control. See, and that was when DC was saying yes to things that, you know what? I mean, Margot Robbie is talented, but she needs a good direct. She's a good producer, but you gotta be, as the director has to be the one pushing the envelope on that one. And then look at what Barbie, Greta, Margot Robbie's an executive producer on that, but Greta Gerwig is the one the driving force. And then you look what kind of movie you got there. Let's see. And I would be Sirens. Yeah, the movie was overstuffed. Yeah. All right, my my super chat. I liked Maul. He-Man trailer. It looks like Darth Talon is with Maul in the trailer. Oh, I did see that. I did see your trailer. I did see your chat. Okay, thank you for that. I think it was a $5 super chat too. Thank you for that. You know what? Let's let's see. Hold on. We're gonna go right into that. Yeah, I did see it. I did see it before I cleared the chat. I did not get a confirmation on what. Like I said, you wanted to do it at 11 o'clock. We're gonna be done with the show by then, and I'll be headed to the house. I don't know if I want to do a show. Be doing a show midnight tonight. That was the whole purpose of doing the show earlier, so that I wouldn't be on the air overnight. We get with me though. The week after next, you can just pick any day and just pick a decent hour, because I'm whatever day you choose, I'm probably gonna have a stream happening. Because if you choose a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday, we're gonna be streaming. So just let me know. Let's see. Any Hyper Wonder Ram? Nah. I am ready for my next Marvel thing to be the top tier stuff, the Avengers level cinematic stuff. I like my Yahya Mateen, but he was good in Aquaman, and he was Dr. Manhattan, and one of my favorite comic book shows of all time, Watchmen, HBO's Watchmen. But I'm not really amped. I'm not really like, ooh, the Wonder Man. I'm gonna give it a try, and you know what? I might be pleasantly surprised. I'll take a look at it. All right. At least in the Flash, the enemies shot at Batman's mouth didn't die thanks to Typical. Yeah, I really want. Actually, I enjoyed that movie. Colors are amazing for Starman. Partially why I bought it. Maybe I'll pick it back up some point. Yeah. I think we're talking about the same run. Oops, I scrolled up. Playing poker while listening to open panel. Nah, is there a background sound or something like that? Wonder Man may be the first. I'll give it a try. Like I said, I'm going to give it an episode, and if Ben Kingsley's in it, I mean, Academy Award winner Ben Kingsley, Brigandi. I'm going to give it a try, and like I said, it's only going to take me one episode to determine whether I want to continue or not. Do I think one battle is worth watching? I haven't been able to get through it. I added another 10 minutes on the other night. I think I'm 40 minutes into it. I would say no, but movies are an experiential. You may like that. You may watch it and like it. So far I'm just trying to get through it. I don't think it's a very good movie, but I'm in the vast majority. I've heard everybody's recommended it to me, and it's up for Oscars. I'm not a big Paul. What's his name? Wes Anderson. It's just not for me. But if you are into movies that are being nominated for Academy Awards, and you go through a checklist to watch them all, so you can have a better perspective on Oscar night, then yeah, go ahead and watch it, because it's been nominated for a bunch. I'll take Sinners over that anyway. I watched some of Echo. I watched all of Secret Invasion, and that was a very disappointing show. Tomorrow night, what time? Because I'm going to be on the. See, that's the thing. I'm on the Vodka. If Dave sends me a link, I'll be on the Vodka stream for like 4 or 5 hours. That's what I'm saying. Wait till February 2nd, and then I'm more available to do it at different points of the day, and I can do multiple streams. I don't have to not do our normal stream in order to do that. William, why can't you admit Marvel is creatively restoring to bringing Chris Evans RGD back? No, I'm going to go ahead and slightly disagree with that, simply because I think they're bringing these individuals back to because they belong in the story. Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom is part of the story that's going to lead you to a new universe where they won't be. Chris Evans is part of the story. I suspect that that Captain America is one of the reasons why these universes are collapsing, because when he went back in time, he basically created everything that happens after he goes back in time and hooks up with Peggy and all that. That is a variant. If you watch Loki, you'll understand that whenever somebody goes back and does something that they were not supposed to do, it creates a variant. So what we are looking at in the MCU is completely a variant. The whole thing needs to be pruned. So, and that he's part of that story. If we're going to tell a story about collapsing realities, one of the guys who helped do the collapsing, Steve Rogers, is got to be in there. If we're telling a story about a variant of Doctor Doom, Robert Downey Jr. is perfect because that's been used before. So I don't think they're, I don't think they are. They run out of new ideas. I mean, I have to see the movies, but no, I don't agree with that. And Gunn's DCU has fresh ideas. Not really. I mean, you can say that you enjoy what Gunn has done, but it's Superman. He gave you a basic Superman story. He gave you a story about Superman fighting monsters and villains. That's I don't know if that's new and fresh. I found it entertaining, but I don't think that he in fact, and the most important thing for him is he didn't necessarily reinvent the wheel, because I think he would have got a lot of backlash for it. But no, I disagree with you on both accounts, Jonathan. I think my problem with the Flash is from Stem not vibrating every Flash. Oh, stems from not vibrating. I said I like this Flash. I enjoy this Flash. It doesn't look like mine. I thought that trailer was awful, but I'll give it a shot. It's going to be frigid for most of the USA. Las Vegas will be not. No, we're in the 60s. Like right now, I think it's like 40 something, but we're comfortably. I mean, I have my door open for most of the day. Rational Skeptic, thank you for the $5 super chat. Do you think The Rock was snubbed by the Academy for a Best Actor nomination for the? I think so. I mean, I'd have to look at the list again to see who I would take down. I definitely am not taking Michael B. Jordan down. But some of those, I mean, I have not, and I am not going to see Marty Supreme. So I can't really judge whether that movie. It just looks like a movie that I have no interest in. So for all I know, Timothée Chalamet could have given the best performance of his life. I still think Dune Part 2 is for him, but no, I mean, I haven't really thought too much about the Oscars. I mean, I saw the list that was released. I saw that Sinners got nominated for 16 awards, but I don't trust the Oscars. I don't trust the people who vote for them to not vote for some human interest abstract shit I've never heard from. So like I said, the Oscars is a party I'm not invited to, and I'm not going to show up. So I'm going to be doing other things, and we'll talk about it later. But yeah, I was surprised that he didn't at least get nominated. I'm not saying he would have won, but thank you for the $5. One Battle After Another has a really tough start. Oh, way overhyped, but I thought it was just okay. Like I said, I'm really having I tried several times to get through it, and I just find that there's other things I could be doing with my time. I'll get through it though. I'll get through it. Awesome to see Sinners. The most, yeah. I will be pleasantly surprised if it wins in any of the major categories. It's just that every year some obscure, unknown shit, and the Oscars is like, oh wow, we've never heard of that. Let's do that, So yeah, I won't go back into it, but I'm kind of done with the Oscars. I was done before Will Smith slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. I was done. I wasn't watching that night. Somebody had to text me and send me the clip of what was happening in real time, and I had to stop what I was doing and look at my phone. That's where I was at with, I was done with the Oscars because they've just nominated and selected movies that I just don't care about. And if somebody else thinks those movies are great, then great. You watch the Oscars, but you know what? It's just not worth my time anymore. What comment? Which one? You're excited for the sequel to see Rogue as Catwoman? What am I missing there? Is that what your comment you're talking about, Joker? Oh yeah, Del Orlando. Yeah. I got for best supporting. I was gonna play. I didn't know if he was in the movie long enough to get the nomination, but apparently they decided he was. Yeah, Coogler. I mean, yeah, I just have zero faith in the Oscars, and then like the deal killer, or for me was the Angela Bassett one. That just really, I already had a bad taste in my mouth because I think it's they've turned it into a joke. And yeah, but that was the one that told me, you know what, you got better things to do with the 3 hours of your time than watch this. So, and that's for award season, Screen Actors Guild, Golden Globes. I don't waste my time on any of them anymore. Oh, about the DC Sonic comic. I read the DC and Sonic comic yesterday, and I really like. I still have some of those up there. It was actually sold pretty well. Glad you enjoyed it. William, if Heath Ledger didn't die, would he have still been nominated for an Oscar for playing the Joker, and would he have won? I think yes. He delivered an all-time performance. Heath Ledger's Joker is literally one of my top 10 iconic movie villains of all time. So I think he wins. Because even listen, Joaquin Phoenix didn't have to die; he won for Joker. But I think that Heath Ledger's Joker was that one nomination. That was, and as soon as he got nominated, you looked at the category, and even Robert Downey Jr., who put on a brilliant performance in Tropic Thunder, he had no chance that night. So it was just one of those performances. Rational. What do I think of the Oscars going to YouTube once the deal is done? I don't watch it on TV, so I mean, it's something I watch. I think that's a sign of the fact that I don't know if they have a network TV audience that they're the one that they want. I don't know. I don't know what their level of what they consider to be success when it comes to their viewership. I know I don't watch it. Instead of me not watching it on ABC, I think it is, I won't be watching it on YouTube. So, I'll catch the highlights. Is that good or bad on their part? I think they're doing what they have to do to survive. I personally don't think each year that we get some of these movies and highlight some of these movies, the relevancy of the Oscars as far as the general public goes is fading. It's fading. And I still think a lot of people still watch it. I still think it does high ratings, but I don't know if it's the ratings that the networks want to pay all that money for. So YouTube probably gave them a deal that's more conducive to what to kind of viewership that they have. But as somebody who grew up watching the Oscars, like I said, I consider it a complete waste of time. So I don't even take it. Like I said, I vowed only to talk about it on the show in response to your guys' questions. Ledger was amazing as Joker. I remember being thawed when I said, yeah, I remember the trailer that they showed before they even showed his face. They did the trailer with Batman rolling through Gotham on that bat cycle, and you hear it's Heath Ledger's Joker's voice. So that's the very first encounter I ever had with it, and I was hooked before I even saw him. Before I even saw Heath Ledger in makeup, I was hooked on just the dialogue that I'd heard. And when I saw him in the movie, right at the beginning of The Dark Knight that you're watching something special in regards to his performance. I remember being confused by Heath Ledger's Joker as a kid, as I always pictured the Joker as one of the animated shows, but I grew to like him. A lot of people who watch the cartoon, that's the first impression that you think, so that's natural. But he took elements from different Batman stories and different arcs and used them for his Joker, and I think he did a masterful job. So thoughts on the Raptor suit Lex built for Planet Watch that literally is being invented and changed the world? I don't have any real thoughts on that. Do you think Kevin Feige always thought to add Fox X-Men or no? They purchased one of the reasons, not the sole reason, but one of the reasons why Disney and Marvel Studios wanted that acquisition of Fox is because a lot of the IP, the library, but the IPs that they did not have access to when they began the MCU. So no, it wasn't. I always thought that you were going to get the X-Men and things like Fantastic Four. Now, what you have to do though, and I think this was always the plan, is to consolidate your universe and build around them, because you don't want things to get old. We've been doing the Avengers thing for a very long time now. You can still do Avenger type stories using them, but we have the X-Men, we have Spider-Man, we have Fantastic Four. Those are your foundations going forward. And just with those IPs alone, you have a lot to work with. You have a lot of characters that come from those books that you can do a ton of work with. So no, I don't think it was a course correction, because that was in mind when they purchased Fox to begin with. So. I thought they both should have been rated R. I thought, I thought both the BBS and the Dark Knight should have been rated R. How you doing, Danny, man? What's going on? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and flip my. Actually, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just get this trailer going. We're going to start with the Masters of the Universe one. Okay. All right. In the spirit of losing money, let's get demonetized.
All that stuff that only exists in legends and bedtime stories. Talking tigers, spaceships, and magic swords that can make a man as mighty as a god. Where I come from, that stuff is real. Why did you send me away?
I wanted you to be safe. So I sent you to a place I knew that they'd never find you. There's
this obsession with nerd stuff and sword things. It's not a good look for human resources.
I know it sounds crazy, but that sword is gonna show me the way home.
Sir, you can't do that.
Don't worry, the sword's mine.
Hang on, it's about to get weird.
What am I supposed to do? Take the sword. You protect them.
I have the power!
All right.
That stuff that only exists in legend.
That is cheesy as hell. But that's fine. If you grew up watching He-Man like I did, that is in line with the vibe He-Man gives off. He-Man was completely cheesy. I know some people want to do like a Lord of the Rings type of Highlander type of situation, but there's a lot of ways you could have done He-Man, and they went ahead and they literally stuck with the spirit of what He-Man was. The pink shirt, all the stuff. If you watch that over and over again, there's a lot of Easter eggs in there. I don't have a huge problem with the design of Skeletor. I thought he looks fine. I mean, he's a dude with no face, a blue guy with no face. There's a blue guy with no face. If you know the origin of Skeletor, he actually accidentally melts his own face off. It looks like a lot of fun. That was a good trailer because it shows you everything that you can connect back to. I mean, the sword looks exactly like the power sword from the show. You know, it's a twist him being on Earth. You know, that was a lot of what the Dolph Lundgren movie was. You know, they were on Earth with Wildor and all that. But I think that the people who made this were fans of the show when it came out in the 80s. And they basically gave you, it looked like an Orion Pictures version of He-Man. Looks like a lot of fun. I mean, I'll go see it when it comes out, just out of curiosity, if I have the time. But as far as the look and the feel of it, you can clearly see the look and the feel that they were going for in this trailer. And it's the 80s. It's the 80s. They made this for Generation X. Yeah, it looks fun. You know, at the worst case scenarios, I have a little bit of fun. But yeah, once again, the whole entire concept of He-Man Master of the Universe is cheesy. I mean, just that run that they would do, you know, when he would run it back and forth, everything about it was cheesy. Everything about it was 80s, and I feel a lot of 80s in that trailer. Yeah, I have no problem. I mean, I guess they could have gone with a little bit more extravagant, but that's the basic. It's the skull. A lot of people were posting pictures of what Frank Langella looked like back then. I thought his Skeletor was fine too, but this version is going straight off of the source material, straight off of. They are basically making a live action cartoon. That's why the color scheme is the same. If you look at Masters of the Universe, the 1987 movie, you'll see that a lot of the colors and things that that are really colorful in the He-Man cartoon are muted because frankly it looked ridiculous, and still does. But now we're in 2025. You can get away with a lot more than you could in the 80s as far as getting people to go for stuff. Jose, it looks as goofy as the cartoon. It's before my time. I check it out. Yeah, like I said, if you got to be a Generation Xer to go for that one. I'll be right back. I got to turn something off. Hold on. Okay, the heat arms. Oh, Bell's in here. Bill, yeah, He-Man, Heath Ledger, Darth Maul. We'll bring that trailer up here pretty soon. Let's see. As far as that one goes, as far as the Darth Maul one goes, for something that I have no interest in, I thought the trailer was pretty cool. Darth Maul Trust. So I have that one up here. So here we go. I'll bring this one up. I'll answer a question. Oh, don't, not yet. All right, so next one we're going to be Yeah, I'm looking for. Like I said, I'm gonna go. I'm going in with just fun expectations. Fun expectations. Nothing really, outlandish. It's like, oh my god, they didn't get it right. They didn't stick it right. It's He-Man. I think people need to remind themselves when they get too serious about some of these things, especially when it comes to 80s cartoons. Just remember where it's coming from. Yep, and that's what a trailer. If the trailer got you an inch closer to going to see it, the trailer did its job. Like I said, it looks like a lot of fun. It looks like a lot of fun. I think I can really enjoy this one without taking it too seriously. Let's see. Yeah, he melted his own face off, and there's actually a video, a cartoon of something that explains it. It was a spell he tried to cast on someone else, and it backfired, and it melted his face. Question, William. Don't forget that James Gunn is working with Christina Hodson on the Batman. Yeah, we talked about that. Earlier. Like I said, I only have one problem with anything she's ever done, and that was The Birds of Prey. I thought it was just a waste of my time. But there are other two things that I have seen, and I've only seen 3 of her projects. I've liked the 2 of them. I liked The Flash, and I liked Bumblebee. So fingers crossed. Let's see. Oh no, I had to turn the heater off, and I guess I could have left the camera on for you. How you doing, Steven Ortega? Do I like the band Kiss? I'm not not particularly, no. I mean, they have a song or two. Like Cycle Circus would probably be what but other than that, I've never been. I don't hate them, but I've just never been a big fan of Kiss. And there are morons out there calling He-Man. Well, yeah, He-Man woke or DEI because there's brown people in it. It's just I'm exhausted of those 2 words, guys. And I really think there's too many people using the term DEI as something negative when you read out the letters what it means. What you're saying you're against is really a problem for me. And a lot of people that have a problem with and throw off the terms woke and DEI will probably have a problem with me in general just being here in this country or being part of anything. So it's really hard. In order to have a conversation with someone, you have to have respect for where people are coming from. If you think people who have been marginalized for the majority of entertainment, their inclusion is a problem, I probably will have a problem talking to you. And it always seems like it's too much and too forced when you're not the marginalized population. I don't know too many black folks who think we're ahead on the inclusion game or the diversity game. So, I actually like the trailer. I don't have any plans on seeing the actual show because I once again, I'm waiting for other stuff to come out. When it comes to Star Wars, and Darth Maul is literally in that cul-de-sac I've been trying to escape for years. So, but we are going to go ahead and play it. In fact, let's go ahead and do that now. Let's go ahead and do that now. Bam, bam. Here we go. This is Darth Maul, Star Wars Darth Maul Shadow Lord official teaser trailer. Let's see. Here we go.
Times have changed. I will show you the galaxy for what it truly is. See things from a new perspective.
Is this what our future holds? Always running.
I invite you to look more closely.
What are we dealing with?
Good question. And I offer you an opportunity. have all been made to suffer. We survive, but do not live. The Emperor wants you dead. Chains can be broken.
Hang on!
And empires can be shattered.
All right. That actually, for somebody who is not interested in this time period or anything from it for the most part, or I've had enough of it, that trailer's amazing. That trailer's amazing. I got Blade Runner feels going watching that. I like some of the dialogue. You know, we survive, but we don't live. I mean, that's kind of a cool thing. I don't know how much Darth Maul I really care about knowing about or watching anymore, because to me, once Darth Maul was cut in half and went down that exhaust chute, I was done with Darth Maul. I mean, I've never been a huge fan of the Clone Wars. I've watched most of it and Rebels and all that. I just wasn't a big deal. At some point, I just had enough of this era. And Darth Maul is smack dab in the middle of this era. He literally, everything that happens to him is going to lead right into the things we've been with for 50 years. That being said, if there was ever going to be something that got me to watch that trailer was it. That trailer was great. That trailer showed you what they're, the premise, I obviously know the premise is him coming back, trying to get his crime organization back together, and he's working on a distant planet. So I knew the premise of it, but just even if I didn't know the general premise, if I were open to this era, spending one more second in this era, that trailer would do it for me. I still, just based on its look, might give that show a chance. I don't know if I'll finish it. I don't know if I'll like it. I mean, for all I know, the best things about the entire season or the of the entire miniseries were in those trailers, and I watched it and it's shit. But just based on what I got, that trailer did its job, just like the He-Man trailer did its job for some people who might have been on the fence for He-Man and Masters of the Universe. That trailer, I'm still on the fence. But when I first heard of Andor and things like Rogue One, I was on the fence as well, because even back to that time in the 2015 and 16, era from Rogue One and then coming into Andor, I was tired of the Skywalker cul-de-sac. I was tired of that general period of time and same planets, same this, same that. But I watched the first couple episodes of Andor, and I loved Andor. I think Andor is the best thing that Star Wars has done in the last 15 or 20 years. So Rogue One is, like I said, it's more prequel stuff. So, but I enjoyed those. So I'm going to give this a chance. But it doesn't change the fact that my biggest excitement is going to be when you see that scroll for Star Wars and it says 1,000 years after the Battle of Yavin, so and so, blah blah blah, or the scroll happens 4,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, which is Star Wars Episode 4. Once we get to having those kind of scrolls, then I'm going to go all in when it comes to Star Wars. But until then, it's just more of an era that I've frankly had enough on. But that trailer was amazing. All right. While you're here, please like, subscribe, and share the gospel. Let's see. Darth Maul is your favorite. Like I said, for the brief time that he was on the cinematic screen, and he's the best thing. His duel with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn was the best thing about Episode 1. The Duel of the Fates is legendary. Even for people that I talk to that do not like Episode 1, no, I unanimously, the people I ran into love that duel battle between those two. Let's see what we got. Yeah, I got a good amount of it spread over different platforms. Also, I'm on Blue Sky Live. I think it puts me on Blue Sky Live too. So, all right, and last topic that I think I have on this one is going to be, man, is it 18 years ago? Is it 18 years already? 18 years. A person who we have been talking about tonight, Heath Ledger, passed away. Born on April 4th, 1979, and he passed on January 22nd, 2008. I mean, and to see what the Dark Knight would become, to see what, and mainly, in my opinion, because of him. Other people have different opinions about Heath Ledger, about the Dark Knight. When I first heard that Heath Ledger was playing the Joker, I laughed because all I could think was his First Night or Brokeback Mountain. I made a lot of stupid jokes. Brokeback Joker, haha. Him hugging Batman, I can't quit you. Things like that, just dumb stuff. And I just pretty much dismissed it. I'm like, okay, I don't understand. And that's Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger is why I don't do fan casting. What I learned from watching Heath Ledger become the Joker is why I don't do fan casting. Because the people that worked on The Dark Knight, from Nolan, his casting director, all those people, the screenplay people, they knew what kind of Joker they wanted. They knew what kind of Joker fit their story. And I would never have guessed it was what we ended up getting. Never in a million years. Not the sound, not the look, none of it. So that's when in July of 2008, is when I retired from fan casting, because clearly I had no clue. One of the all-time great performances of all time, and it breaks my heart that he didn't get to celebrate that, to really reap the benefits of that, and to die at that young age. He wasn't even 30 yet, and he died of an accidental overdose. I think it was sleeping medication. Because he had been having issues. I mean, he threw himself into this role, but to die at 28 years old, I think he was 28. Yeah, 28 years old is devastating. And right when this was a role of a lifetime. This was a role of life. This was an Academy Award level performance, and you knew it from the moment you sat down in the theater and you saw him. When he's wearing the clown, I mean, everything about him, and doing the 47 minutes. I think that movie's 2 hours and 20 something minutes. The 47 minutes that involved Heath Ledger's Joker, you knew you were watching something special. I put him up there with all the iconic ones. I put him up there with the Scarfaces. I put him up there with the Don Corleones. I put him up as far as memorable performances that you would never forget. You can feel it as I was sitting there in that first initial meeting where he puts the phone, the pencil through the guy's head, and all those things. I just felt chills down my spine of what I was witnessing, and I told myself, this is what my parents must have felt when they were watching Marlon Brando. This is what my parents must have felt when they first saw a Darth Vader, because I was a little baby when that movie came out. They were watching the movies. All the performances that had taken place decades throughout Hollywood before I was born, and I never got to feel that kind of feeling seeing it in the cinema like those people did. I now understood how they felt when they saw something like that. And Heath Ledger's Joker was that for me. And I didn't want, once he was on the screen, I wanted no one else to be on the screen. And you got to realize the Dark Knight trilogy has multiple Academy Award winners of top tier. You have Morgan Freeman, you have Michael Caine, you have Kristen Bale, you have Anne Hathaway, you have, you just have so many top tier people once that Joker takes the screen, I was mesmerized by it. I wanted nothing else from that movie. And even today, I joke about it, but I have a broken down version of The Dark Knight that I watch, and it's all Heath Ledger scenes and nothing else. He was that role. He was that Joker. And if you look at the work, the dedication he put in that, so as a comic book reader and collector, you can see the influences that he pulled from, because you see them. He did it right. He did it so well that you could see things from The Long Halloween. You could see things from Killing Joke. You could see all the influences. He took this seriously. Some argue maybe too seriously because he stressed himself out and had to self-medicate. But I don't know all the circumstances of his death, other than it was a overdose of, I think, painkillers and sleeping pills, something like that. I never really revisited it, because every time I think about Heath Ledger, it just makes me sad. It makes me sad that this was your moment. This is your moment. And I remember one of the last years that I regularly watched the Academy Awards was the night that he won. And it was also the night that Kate Winslet won for The Reader, which is not her best movie, but hey. And I remember it was the way they did the Oscars that year. The previous supporting actors that had won the award came out and read off the nominations, and he was one of them. And I remember his family. His entire family was there, and because obviously he wasn't there, they accepted the award, and it was heartbreaking. I mean, I'm not a tearful guy when it comes to these things, but I almost shed one there, because this is your moment. It's like Philip Seymour Hoffman. I mean, him dying at 46 years old of a heroin overdose, he had made it. He had won an Academy Award. He was a sought-after actor, but he couldn't shake an addiction. So yeah, Heath Ledger is very haunting, and I got a question during the earlier in the show if Heath Ledger wins is nominated for the Oscar, or does he win it if he doesn't pass away? I think so. I think that that performance, it's not like when The Crow made a bunch of money, and to me, The Crow with Brandon Lee, as much as I love that movie, I don't think the rest of the world would have been on board with me had he not died. But the notoriety of his death is what propelled that movie. But Heath Ledger's performance is what propelled him to the Oscar in this one. I think if he would have been living, he would have still won the Oscar, because he, living or dead, he put the best supporting actor performance out that year. And that was sitting next to Robert Downey Jr., whose portrayal, what's the guy's name? Kurt Lazarus. I'm a dude playing a dude, disguised as another dude. I mean, he was literally playing a role layered over another role in that movie. He was up for an Oscar. He didn't win, and nobody thought that anybody but Heath Ledger was going to win that award. So no, I think Heath Ledger, I think his performance earned the award, and then Robert Downey Jr. will win one for his other best role, and that was Oppenheimer. I thought that if had Dune been released on time, I think it would have negated some of Oppenheimer's awards, but I think the one that would have been clearly the one that would have still stayed the same was Robert Downey Jr.'s role for best supporting in Oppenheimer. So I don't know. And be honest with you, I never really explored the details of Heath Ledger's death. I don't know whether he vomited or his heart stopped. I don't know. And I never really took it that far, because it did for me. It didn't matter. It just didn't matter. Yeah, I didn't know Philip Seymour Hoffman had a heroin addiction until he died of it, and they found him with the needle in his arm. I do know the details of that. Heroin, man, wow, it's got a body count for sure. You go ahead, Music Man. You have that fun for me. I'm gonna take a pass on that one. Watching parents film their kids watching Empire Strikes Back for the third time and not ending is great content. Yeah. Crazy thing is everyone except for Jared Leto, who played the live-action Jokers in the movies, through some mental stuff with that role. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, everybody who's played the Joker has been an Academy Award winner. Everybody who's played a cinematic modern era Joker has won an Academy Award for something or another. Jack Nicholson was already an Academy Award winner when he played Joker. Heath Ledger, it wins for the Joker, and then you have Jared Leto, who had been an Academy Award winner, and then you have Joaquin Phoenix, who won it for the Joker. So two of the four individuals that have played the Joker in the modern era won it for playing the Joker. All of them were Academy Award winners. And right now, when it comes to the last two people to play, two of the last three people to play Batman have been Academy Award winners, and Robert Pattinson's going to get one day too. I just don't know which movie. All right, guys, we're almost at the end of the road here. Yeah, I think he was filming a movie. I'm not here, something like that. Yeah, I think he was in a movie called and it got released after he was dead. I'm gonna make my way to Vegas again. Next time I do, I'll have to stop by a center. Are you pretty close to Allegiant Stadium? No, I am not. My old location from about 8 years back was right around the corner from Allegiant Stadium. I am closer to the Strip. I am closer to the tourist center of Las Vegas. I'm not too far away. Hold on, did I lose? I did them all, Taylor Clinton. Hold on, I did it. Yeah, I'm closer to the Strip. So, drop me a line when you get here, Clone Avenger. I will lead you right to my front door. Clint, I did the. I just got your message. Let me make sure that I'm sounding right. Hold on, I'm going to mute myself for a second here, guys. We have X-Men, we have Spider-Man, we have and share the gospel. Let's see. They knew what field was going on. There's actually a video. You protect them. I've just never been a marginalized. Here we go. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I got it. I can't wait till I start streaming from the new studio because, like I said, my sound is not where I want it to be. All right, so direct this. You got that. You got that. All right. Three guys who played Batman 1. So we have Ben Affleck, Christian Bale. Who's the third one? Michael Keaton has not won yet. He should have won. Michael Keaton has not won yet. Robert Pattinson has not won yet. Oh, Val Kilmer and George Clooney. Did Val Kilmer win? No, Val Kilmer did not win an Academy Award. Brad Pitt won it. George Clooney. Gotcha. All right, guys, that's about it. That's all I got for tonight's show. Like I said, it's probably go a little bit longer if I had a co-host. But been talking for an hour and a half. Been talking all day actually. But there you go. Covered all of our thumbnail topics, and was able to get you the show a lot earlier than midnight. You're welcome. So for those of you East Coasters, and the rest of you that are in, like, we have people that are watching the show now from New Zealand, Australia, England, or the United Kingdom, Pakistan. I have viewers in Pakistan. By the way, if you're one of my Pakistani viewers and you're in the chat, say hi. I really want to know a little bit more about you. It's just weird that my reach is that far over, and that's kind of cool, actually. So, feel free to join the conversation. Other than that, our show this Saturday, we will be covering once again 1986, the year in movies and sound and music. We might throw in some 1996 stuff in there as well. I'm going to be reviewing some comics that I just got in that are still going on the shelf. We'll have a musical topic. We'll have a bunch of stuff. That show, there's a possibility that show will be later on because I have a prior engagement. And then the regular weekend wrap-up show. So that's about it. Please like, subscribe. If you have anything to add to the conversation, please leave it in the comments. And I know I'm a little bit behind on responding to messages and comments, but I will get back to you as soon as possible. So there you go. All right, guys, you have a nice, happy Thursday. Look, I'm leaving you at 11:04. You still have a Thursday to enjoy if you're on the West Coast. Other than that, thanks for being here. Thanks for being the most important part of this entire geek conversation. And I will see you on Saturday. Oh, watch the vodka stream tomorrow night. I may be on there. See you later.